Yep. 3 teams to go. We've got the New Orleans Saints 2023 roster grades. This should be a fun team, of course. They've got some new additions. Derek Carr, maybe? I don't know. Here we go. Saints 2023 roster grades. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the New Orleans Saints 2023 rosters. Of course, coming off a 7-10 season where they really weren't that good. I mean, like, yeah, what happened? Oh yeah, they kind of sucked to start the season. What did they start, like 2-5? Then they were like 3-7, I think. They were pretty horrible. Then they went to actually 4-9. That was the worst part of the season. They won 3 games towards the end of the season. Of course, dominated the Eagles in that defensive game. Then they lost in Week 18. I mean, Andy Dalton was the quarterback. He actually, stat-wise, he wasn't too bad. But again, he lost some really close games. I mean, overall, this team is a talented roster, but, like, it's the freaking Saints. They got Dennis Allen. Like, again, 9-8 in 2021. They were even worse last year. I mean, it's kind of, like, well, no one really knows what to expect. There's a lot of controversy and just dysfunction with this team, and especially when they're trying out a quarterback who is yet to win a playoff game, but then again, he really hasn't had many opportunities. Either way, though, let's get into the quarterback room. Here is Derek Carr. You know, I said Derek Carr. Well, I lied. Let's start in the back with Taysom Hill, who of course, he's well known around the league. Let me just put it like that. Of course, he has started. What was it? So, let me think about this. So in 2020, he started 4 games, I think. He was just not that great. I mean, he had after the good start against the Falcons, where he actually looked somewhat decent, he didn't really look like a true starting quarterback. I mean, he looked terrible in the last 2 games, though. Either way, though, in 2021, where he actually started, I don't know, it was like 5 games. He actually wasn't too bad. He injured himself in the last game of the season. Like, what was it? Where did he go? Yeah, I think he went like 3. I don't know. He went like 3-2 or something. But yeah, other than that, if you take that 4 interception game away out of the Cowboys, he's actually pretty good as quarterback. Last season, and again, didn't start at all, but he was fine. Of course, rushing wise, he's always been an impactful runner. Of course, that monster game with that 4 touchdowns against the Seahawks. He'll probably do something like that this year too. Receiving's never always been his best strength. Again, it's always been his rushing, but he can catch the ball when he needs to. Taysom Hill, again, is just a do-it-all dude. Also, of course, Jake Haener, the guy they drafted in the 4th round, I think was a really good idea. Again, he hasn't looked too great. He's just a great decision maker who makes a lot of big-time throws. His arm isn't insane. I wouldn't say it's bad because he can make some crazy throws. But his touch overall, he's a good quarterback. He ain't the most mobile as many people would think he'd be. Again, he can move somewhat, but he's definitely better at manipulating the pocket than actually running. Like, Jake Haener is just a good decision maker. But then again, doesn't have the same upside that Jameis Winston has, who will not be starting. He's basically a backup at this point in his career. Again, he had that 1 season back in 2021. My bad. Back in 2021, in those 7 games he started, he looked somewhat salvageable. Again, accuracy wasn't as crazy, though. He's never been the most accurate quarterback. Many people thought Sean Payton would have fixed him. After he left, and he, 2022, he started 3 games. Looked horrible and after looking really good in that comeback win against the Falcons in that 4th quarter, he looked horrible the next few starts, and yeah, got hurt, and kind of just when he came back to the ready to play, they're like, no, don't want to see you on the field. Yeah, that's kind of what it was like. And then Derek Carr, of course, their starter now. He's a career loser. Like, he's literally a loser. There's nothing around it. Like, that's literally what he is. But he last season, not gonna lie, he was kind of bad. Like, yeah. Derek Carr just didn't make many big throws. Again, a lot of it was Devontae Adams. Like, I wouldn't say force-feeding him, but again, Devontae Adams was a big part of the reason his numbers were even like this. He took a lot of. We didn't actually take down many sacks. He was getting the ball out really quick, and I think that did hurt this offense a little bit. He didn't take advantage of some of the throws they thought he could. I think he lost a little bit of confidence too. I just think Josh McDaniels wasn't the right coach for him. Either way, though, again, 2021 was probably his best career season, in my opinion. Yeah, the MVP season basically back in 2016, you could say, you know what, that's probably his best season. But outside of that, like last season, he was pretty 2021, he looked like the man. But then again, like, it's pretty simple. Derek Carr started 1 playoff game. That's literally all he's done. He has a really bad record, which isn't everything. But yeah, Derek Carr is, again, he's probably like an average quarterback at this point in his career, but he definitely needs to bounce back over last year where he did not have the same arm talent that I'm used to seeing from him. I'll still give Derek Carr a C+ because there was a point last season, I mean, going into 2022, where you could say he was probably like top I'd say like 12th or 13th ranked quarterback because he made all the throws in 2021. Yeah, he did throw a lot of interceptions, but then again, he was making just a ton of, again, ridiculous throws. So I do think that this season he will bounce back, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think Derek Carr's a straight-up average quarterback because he makes some, again, he still makes plays like other quarterbacks can't, but then again, whatever. I got to give him a C+. I think that I'm still high on Derek Carr. I won't say high, but I'm not, like, dumping on Derek Carr just because last season wasn't his best. So we'll give him C+. Honestly, probably C would be more fair, but I'm good with this. That comes up to about 30 points. Let's talk about this running back core. And looking at the Saints backfield, it is a complete mess. I thought they were going to sign Kareem Hunt, and what happened? They didn't. Okay. But either way, though, Darrell Williams, he might get a carry or two. He got a terrible, he was limping off the field with an injury. But whatever. Darrell Williams, which one is this? Oh, yeah, it's the guy who played for the Chiefs. He's actually a pretty efficient runner, in my opinion, even though he had a 3.9 yards per carry. He makes a lot of good runs happen. It's just kind of what he does. His vision isn't anything crazy. He doesn't break too many tackles, but, yeah, that's kind of what he does. He just picks up first downs, doesn't get get runs blown up. Yards per carry isn't great, but it's because he gets a lot of carries in unfortunate spots. Either way, though, Kendrick Miller, of course, is the guy they drafted in the 3rd round. He has not been great in preseason, but again, for a power back who is kind of underwhelming, at least at times, he's actually been pretty decent. So, yeah. For a guy who's going to get a couple touches, he might not bring one to the house, but he's definitely good enough, too. Jamal Williams, okay. You got to realize what happened last season. He got like a billion carries, and what did he do? He scored 17 touchdowns, which won't happen again, but yeah. I will say this, though. It wasn't just like he was some, Aaron Jones 2019 touchdown merchant. He legitimately got some of those touchdowns. Not all of them, but let's say about 10 of them were legitimate touchdowns. So, yeah, Jamal Williams can punch the ball. He's a very good power back. The only problem is they don't really have a freaking receiving back right now. That's why they got Darrell Williams on their team. He can't break the big running when he needs to. He's a little bananas. Helps him out a lot. He can break tackles. Don't want to tackle him because, again, he's kind of crazy. Either way, though, of course, Alvin Kamara, their #1 back. Let me put it like this. I don't know how the heck he's getting this many carries for a dude who's just not that efficient. Keep him under 200 carries, or probably even 190. He is a good back. You gotta realize, last 2 seasons, he's got over 220 carries. He just hasn't had the same views. Only 2 rushing touchdowns last season, 4 total. Again, he's still an electric receiver. Last season wasn't the same route runner for some reason. He was still, again, same speed, off the route, stuff like that. Again, really explosive, but just wasn't the same dynamic runner we're used to seeing, even though his yards per carry was up. Alvin Kamara is definitely going to have a bounce back season this year, which isn't, crazy, but yeah, he wasn't crazy last season. Again, 3-game suspension, probably won't put up as many yards, especially with Jamal Williams in the backfield, getting a lot of carries, which I think is actually a better thing, because Alvin Kamara out of the backfield would be a lot more better. Let me just put it like that. Probably still a top, honestly, definitely still top 3 receiving back, he's just electric there. That's what I got there. Let's get right into the grade. I'll give this running back room a B. Again, Kendrick Miller doesn't really make me go wow, but he was good at TCU, as a back in the backfield and was reliable with Max Duggan. But either way, again, this Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams are 2 very good. I wouldn't say very good, but they're above average backs. They're guys you want to have on your team. So, just with that in mind, I like this running back room. There's good depth. I'll give it a B. It comes out to 9, 18, 24 points. Let's talk about this wide receiver core. Very interesting group, to say the least. I'm just going to start out the back with A.T. Perry, who, oh my god, I'll just put it like that, at Wake Forest. He's been good during preseason camp, but he's gotten just absolutely shut down against big corners. I don't know why, but, again, big, fast corners just isn't really his strength. Again, for a dude who's supposed to be a yak dude, his physicality just isn't really there. He's a deep threat, obviously. His speed isn't off the charts either, but I do like him simply because, again, he does get open. That's what he does, even though he's a big guy. Well, not open, but he makes plays. It's weird. K1 Baker, I'm not going to lie, I've never heard of this dude. South Alabama. No, wait. Was he the dude who caught that bomb? No, I remember this dude. He's fast. But, he can't really catch for some reason. That's what I got there. Keith Kirkwood, he's been in the league not a long time. But, yeah, he's been in the league a little bit. Again, back in 2018 was really the only time he's gotten starts. I don't know how the heck he managed to stay on a roster this long. He's kind of a bum. I don't know. He's actually, I guess he's played well in camp. Traquan Smith, I've already talked about him. He's good for 5 touchdowns a season. We only had 1 last year, but Traquan Smith is literally just a good guy in the red zone. He makes plays there. That's about it. Rashid Shaheed, not really a great overall receiver. He's insanely fast, but his route running is pretty horrible. He's got good hands, though. I actually don't think his hands are that bad. And he's just a gadget player that you want to get the football in because he is explosive and he's really good with that curvature speed, or whatever you want to call it. Michael Thomas, as your number 2 receiver, is just not good because he's just straight up not reliable. But in 3 games last season, yeah, he didn't look the same type of speed or explosion, but he's never been that type of dude. He was still making a lot of physical plays, which I liked. Again, really got in the groove there. Michael Thomas, I mean, if he can stay healthy, that would be good, but he hasn't been healthy in basically like 3 years. 20, again, he didn't play all of 2021. He just wasn't the same player. Like, in the 7 games, he was, like, hurt all those games, too. Again, 2019, the record-breaking year, though. So, yeah, Michael Thomas, I already talked about in the pre-video. Like, he's got to bounce back this year. Like, kind of about it now for him. Chris Olave, they kind of need him to play well, because if he doesn't, I mean, there's no other receivers to play well. He's a big separated receiver, but he's not going to make a ton of big plays when there's guys, like, pressing him and stuff. He's a very smooth route runner. I wouldn't say he's the best route runner, though, because he does run his routes a little too loose sometimes, and especially against press, he needs to get better. His release is kind of bad right now, a little sloppy and, like, muddy, but I do think he's faster than, what is it called, Garrett Wilson. But, yeah, Chris Olave definitely could be more consistent, and his hands still aren't, like, top-notch like they need to be for a number 1 receiver, but he creates a ton of separation, and not many guys can do that. I'll give this wide receiver core a B-, because Michael Thomas, I do think when he is on the field, will be good. He won't be bad, but that's what I'll say. Michael Thomas, I'd be shocked when he's on the field. He's a bad receiver. Like, that's what I'll say. Like, he'll at least be serviceable for, what is it called? Derek Carr. But Chris Olave, he's a number, is he a number 1 receiver? Yeah, he's a number 1 receiver. The other dudes, again, the depth is pretty bad, but at least they have guys that are somewhat experienced and at least can be reliable in some sort of way. So, you know what, do I even give him a No, I will, because Michael Thomas is shown to be, like, the best receiver in the league. So, yes, Michael Thomas does give him that B-. Again, if he doesn't stay healthy, I really don't care, because, like, if he's on the field, like, whatever. So, yeah, I'll give him a B-, which is really being nice, but I really don't care. That comes out to 9-18, 21 points for that wide receiver core. Time for the tight ends. Alright, first things first, talk about Adam Prentice. There's really nothing to talk about with him. He's a fullback. That's kind of about it. But either way, this tight end room is very interesting. First off, Jimmy Graham's back. He'll probably be a decent blocker, maybe catch a couple touchdowns. Good to see him back. He again took all last year off after being with the Bears and not doing anything in 2021. Either way, though, Foster Moreau started last season for a good chunk. Wasn't very impressive in the receiving game. Really inconsistent route runner, but he can block at least, I guess. He's a backup tight end, but he's not a bad one. Jason Miller, I talked about him, do it all. But as a tight end, purely, again, he can block, but receiving could use some work. Juwan Johnson, though, don't sleep on this dude. For a UDFA last season, he was kind of ridiculous. His blocking's still horrible, but you can't ignore he caught 7 freaking touchdowns last season. He was, again, not super consistent, but he was still good as a big play tight end. If his route running can improve, and he can just be more you can afford to put him on the field more, especially when they need to run the football. Juwan Johnson could be a top 15 tight end. He's a pretty darn good player. I'll give this tight end room C+, because Juwan Johnson still can't block. So, you look at his numbers, like, again, 7 touchdowns is huge. He's an athletic dude. But, again, if Juwan Johnson can just stay healthy, like, I'm not stay healthy. If he can be consistent enough as a blocker to, like, at least be, like you won't get, like, yelled at if you put him on the field. And, he can just be a little more consistent with his route running and hands a little bit. He could definitely be a top 15 tight end. Like, he's definitely got that potential. You might even be able to argue that he already is, but his blocking is just not good. That comes up to, what is that? 12 points for tight ends. Let's look at the offensive line. Alright, the Saints offensive line I think is a little overrated, but there are things to be happy about. First off, Trevor Penning is finally their left tackle. Of course, last season was a first round, last season? What am I saying? Yeah, as a rookie last season, he performed somewhat well as again, for a first round pick, but he definitely was a high upside pick for them. Again, he wasn't crazy good wait, who the heck started for the line? Was it James Hurst? I've literally forgot. But yeah, Trevor Penning, when he started, he was decent. Landon Young, really good pass blocker, but he can't do anything outside of that. Like, he's not going to move anyone, but he can. He's pretty good in pass protection, like, for a backup. Andrews Pete, good guard. Like, honestly, I would say he's taking a little bit of step back. He's definitely struggled with injuries the past couple of seasons, but, yeah, he's good. James Hurst basically can play anywhere at the left side. He does a good job there as a backup. Eric McCoy, very good center. Just really good, actually, like, physically, and just being able to move dudes, but definitely, I won't say struggles, but isn't the best with leverage, especially going up against 2i, which That sounds weird, but yeah, they do run stuff with that. Max Garcia, how old is he now? 31. That's all I gotta say. Cesar Ruiz really actually stepped it up last season. He's actually doesn't suck, I guess, anymore. He had a career season last season for sure, and yeah, he's gonna start in here for a little while. Calvin Throckmorton, probably not the best guy to have a tackle, but he can move around a little bit. Ryan Ramczyk, still one of the best tackles in the league, and Storm Norton started with the Chargers. Good thing he's on this team now because he fits their system somewhat. I'll give this offensive line a B. Do I give him a B+? I'll give him a B+, because outside of Trevor Penning, the offensive line is really good. That's kind of what it's like. I do think Trevor Penning, though, at left tackle, does still need improvements. The depth is fine. I do like what this offensive line is doing. Like, it's not as, elite as it used to be, but they're still doing a good job. They don't give up too many sacks. Yeah, they do the job. That comes out to 6, 12, 18 points. Could be better in run blocking, though. Definitely with penetration. Do I give him a B? No. We'll talk about the identity later. Let's talk about this overall offensive grade now. And this offense falls right into a B-, which I do think that's where they fall. Again, they've got talent. They've got some good parts of their team, but they don't really, again, the weapons aren't that deep or great. They're good because Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson, in the future could be great. Are they going to be great this season? I don't know for sure. Again, Derek Carr, he's a good regular season quarterback. Again, I get people are going to give me a little backlash to the C+, but I think he's a good quarterback. He's a steady, stable quarterback to have on your team. He's not going to be terrible. You know we're going to get at Derek Carr, which I think is really valuable for this team. Again, he's a loser, I get that. But, he's got the roster. This is our, again, and we'll talk about defense later, which I think is a little BS. But, he's got the best, offensive line and the best running back group, I guess, he's had in a long time. So, I'll give him the B- and 105 overall points. They got good offense. Let's look at this defense with the linebacking core first. Let's go. Another 4-3 defense. I hate these things. Either way, though, we'll talk about this linebacking core first. Okay, Pete Werner. After basically, I don't know how to put this. Getting 4 or 5 starts down the stretch with the Saints. He was good, for sure. Again, athletic dude can cover for sure. But last season, as a he was decent. He didn't get as much big plays as I'd hoped, but he was still good enough in coverage and made basically every tackle he was asked to. He's fine. But after that, Jalen Smith, he's horrible in coverage. But for an old dude, he's not old, but I guess you'd call him old. He had that one season with the Cowboys back in 2018, where he was actually really good. Since then, he's relied so much on big plays. Again, 22 with the Giants, he's actually pretty decent. But, yeah, Jalen Smith is just a terrible cover linebacker. But outside of that, he's fine. Demario Davis, one of the best playmaking linebackers in the league. Don't get him confused in coverage. He's not going to do you much. I mean, in zone, he's fine. But he just makes a ton of big plays. Very good leader on this team. And very athletic as well. Again, he is 34, yeah, but he's still making big time tackles. He does his job really well. DeMarco Jackson, I don't love him. At App State, he didn't really impress me too much. Again, yes, I get the physicals and stuff like that. And yes, the raw numbers he put out there were pretty crazy. And yes, I get he's a pretty good cover dude, but I don't know. I just don't get too up after from him. Zach Bond, backup, but he is starting, which is kind of crazy because he's just not that good. But, okay. And then Ryan Conley, I don't want to see on the field. That's all I got for this linebacking core. I got a lot of mixed feelings. I'll give him a C+ in this linebacking core. Yes, Demario Davis is still, maybe not elite, but definitely a really good linebacker. But he's still 34. He's going to lose a step. It's kind of like that. But they really don't have a true cover linebacker. Again, they do have DeMarco Jackson. But he's kind of a wuss when it comes to tackling. I'll kind of say it like that. So, I'll give him a C+, 18 points. I'm not the biggest fan of this linebacking core. Again, it's not really something to be crazy about, but whatever. Time for the defensive line. Alright, two-parter here. First off, though, I'll just talk about this interior a lot more than the edge guys, because we'll talk about him in a minute. But Cam Jordan, he's still doing, his thing. What is he, 34? Yeah, he is doing his thing. What is he at? 8+ sacks, and, yeah, at least 7 sacks since, basically his rookie season. Yeah, Cam Jordan is maybe not as good as he used to be. I wouldn't really call him a true... Well, he's the #1 passer still, but not... His power game is really helping him right now. Because his finesse game is actually, what am I saying? Because power game is just not as much there anymore. Carl Granderson I do like, but he's going to have some stuff to do. We'll talk more about him too. They also have Peyton Turner, former first-round pick, who actually kind of ramped it up last season. Still not that great though. And then Isaiah Foskey, who was he, a second round pick? I'm not too hyped about him. He can make plays, but whatever. We'll talk about him again a little more later. And Tano Pascagon, he made one play, I think, against like the Steelers last season. That's all I really remember from him, though. Okay, really focus on this interior now. Nathan Shepard, backup. He's been a backup his whole career. No, wait, didn't he start the Jets last season? What am I saying? He was actually good last season. I'm getting so confused because I'm thinking of the dude who's on the Chiefs. What was the other dude? Nathan Shepard, okay. Not gonna lie, I don't get to watch too much film on him, but the some film I got to watch on him was him being able to get consistent penetration, but he wasn't able to get around the tackle because, again, not the tackle, the guard, sometimes the center. He didn't split double team super well either in the run game. Nathan Shepard's like whatever. Kalen Saunders, I don't even know what to say. Like, he was actually really freaking good last season, but then again, it was a product of what it's called, Chris Jones. I wonder what he'll be able to do with a guy who just isn't as big as a threat. I will say this though, he's a very, very, very respectable run defender because he keeps his integrity there. That's what he respects every single offensive line in the run game. He's a very, I would say, patient but very conservative run defender. You'll never blow him over. And Brian Breezy, the guy they brought in to just bring in more juice in this defensive line. He's going to have to be very consistent with his pressure. Like, he's got to be a problem up the middle because he'll definitely step up from Nathan Shepard. His run defense is still very, very, very disruptive, but it's a little erratic, and I do think offensive line will be able to take advantage of that and move him a lot easier than than they should be able to. Because, trust me, he's a lot stronger, a lot more, I would say, boneheaded than a lot of the offensive linemen would think him to be. Malcolm Roach, though, he's been a backup, too. I mean, he was actually decent last year, though. That's what I got there. Let's talk about the defensive line. Let's get right into the grade. Okay, this defensive line is very interesting. So, overall, I mean, they've got good depth, but, again, we'll talk about the edge more later. Their ability to stop the run should be pretty good, but the interior really doesn't have again, Nathan Shepard, again, is fine, but is he really a true starter? Kalen Saunders, I think, is good. Again, as like a number 2 defensive lineman. As a number 1, he's definitely got to show he can do it. Brian Breezy should be good in a couple of months by the end of the season, but we'll just have to wait and see. They got definitely a deep defensive line for sure. I'll actually give them a B-. It's just the fact they don't have too much juice outside of Cam Jordan. That's really going to be like consistent. Like, yeah, I'm gonna sack the quarterback. Like, they don't have that consistent pressure right now. So I can give them the B-. And again, the run defense is fine, but it's definitely not the same defensive line. It comes out to 6, 12, 14 points. Let's look at the pass rush now. Alright, I kind of already talked about Cam Jordan, but he is their number 1 pass rusher for a 34-year-old who is coming off a season where he wasn't as explosive as he was in 2021, but he was still really good because he made a ton of plays in the run game and set the edge. Cam Jordan is really good. Carl Granderson, I kind of talked about him, but he's definitely got some work to do. Again, yeah, 5.5 sacks last season was awesome, really encouraging. Basically got a lot of the starts, but he still doesn't get around the edge enough, and he really does rely on offensive linemen biting when he does step outside to get out on the inside. He definitely needs to get better with his bend. If he can do that, he'll get 10 sacks this season for sure. Peyton Turner, I already talked about him. He's kind of a bust. I don't know why they picked him there, but they did. He's not the worst guy, rotational guy, though. He does get some pressure. And Isaiah Foskey, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I will say he's very versatile, and once in a while, he'll just absolutely blow up a play, and there's nothing you can do about it, because he just, I wouldn't say it's random, but he does that. Interior-wise, though, I already talked about it, kind of. Well, yeah, I did. Brian Breezy will be the bull on this defense for sure, at some point at least. Nathan Shepard doesn't get you, again, penetration, but just doesn't do much after that. Kalen Saunders can get sacks, but again, he's just more that number 2 type of dude. Like, he thrives as a number 2, but they don't have an actual number 1 IDL, so I do think that will give him some problems. But again, Cam Jordan can always kick in as a 3-tech. They definitely need more true edge rushers, which I think is a little bit of a problem for them. But then again, just have Damari Davis blitz, I guess. I'll give the pass rush a C+ probably because yes, Carl Granderson is definitely their best true edge rusher, but I'm not the biggest fan because Peyton Turner, yes, he's okay with rotation, but he's still not that great. Isaiah Foskey just isn't, again, true edge rusher. The interior really, I think, won't be that great, and the fact you're relying on Cameron Jordan, who's 34, to get you get you the most pressure is a little concerning. So, yes, a C+ is a little bit of a fleece, considering a lot of other teams are a lot worse, but I don't think this pass rush is truly that great. So I'll give him 24 points. There's a lot of question marks. Let's talk about this cornerbacks now. Alright, this cornerback room I'm really hyped up to talk about because I like a lot of these guys. First off, Marshon Lattimore. Yes, last season he got injured and just wasn't kind of like whatever. But when he was on the field, he was kind of awesome. Of course, with that pick 6 against the Eagles, he shut down a lot of dudes. His man coverage definitely ramped it up. Again, 2021 was kind of a down season for him. He just wasn't as good at covering guys underneath, which I think is something that he really stressed on in those games he played in 2022. Yes, by the end of the season was he like not playing super well, kinda, but whatever. Marshon Lattimore is one of the better #1 corners in the league. Like, he's awesome. Paulson Adebo, I don't like him. I think he's I wouldn't say he's burnt toast, but for a dude who's supposed to be really good at covering the top of the field and zone, just hasn't been able to do that. His man coverage, again, is never going to be that great, but at least he can play somewhat off. Again, for a #1, he's not the worst, because, like, he ain't going to get just absolutely toasted if just picked on, because he won't take advantage of some of the throws, but he's just not the most exciting dude, which isn't a bad thing, but whatever. Bradley Roby, older, but still playing well, somehow. I don't know how he is, but he is. Yeah, so Bradley Roby does. Plays well. Yeah. Lante Taylor, I think he could be, honestly, #1, because Marshon Lattimore is, but he definitely, I think, has the brightest future. He's a really hard guy to complete balls against because he's super physical, and even when he gets burned, he somehow gets back into play. Like, Lante Taylor, in my opinion, is just a freaking beast. Lonnie Johnson Jr., he's kind of at corner now because he's kind of a slot, but he does make plays. He holds his own. He's not too bad. And then, of course, Isaac Yiadom, who is truly burnt toast. Troy Pride Jr., the same thing. Anthony Johnson Jr., you got cut, bro. What else do I have to say? That's all I got to say there. I'll give this quarterback room a B. I don't think they have a true #2 right now. And just Bradley Roby is a decent slot, I guess. Alante Taylor could get, again, he could be like a B+. But they really only have like 4 corners. Like, outside of those, the 4 guys they have, it's nothing much more. Which isn't a terrible thing, I guess. But, again, 2 of those guys, Bradley Roby and Marshon Lattimore, have gotten injured. Again, they don't really have a true slot corner. I don't know. I like this cornerback room, but it's just not, it doesn't, like, get me, like, super excited. Again, Paulson Adebo, I don't really see as a #2 corner, at least right now. Comes out to 6, 12, 16 points for that cornerback room. Let's talk about the safeties. Alright, let's first talk about, let's say Jordan Howden. Howdy, bro. I have no idea who you are because I didn't watch him. Kind of miss you, Jordan Howden. Yeah, kind of an unknown at this point. Don't know who he is, which is kind of a problem. But whatever. JT Gray, Smoke Monday, I've seen them. Smoke Monday does get smoked a lot. But JT Gray, he's decent. I like what he'll be able to do, at least this season. Again, he really does rely a lot on, I wouldn't say making big plays, but making flash plays to stay on the field, because he ain't going to do, he does absolutely nothing outside of making a big play, like maybe once a game. Tyrann Mathieu, in my opinion, he played top 10 safety level play, but he's not truly elite anymore. He's just losing a step overall. He still doesn't let that affect him, though. He made a lot of tackles. Was that career high? Yeah, career high in tackles last season. He really did stick it up a lot better this season, but he definitely isn't the same guy in coverage. Marcus May, on the other hand, still really, really good. Very underrated. Don't get him confused with, like, covering slot receivers or anything like that. He's definitely not a strong suit, but again, makes a lot of nice plays. Marcus May, good safety blanket there. And then, of course, Jonathan Abram. How is he playing free safety? I don't know. He's basically a linebacker who is still terrible in coverage. Again, 2021, he started 2022. Starting 2020, 2021. Wasn't Jack, he's a box safety. That's kind of what he is. And then, again, got cut, so, by the Raiders, and then with the Packers, got himself, like, burnt toast. So, yeah, the safety room is a little out of the, kind of all over the place, but the starters are solid. Again, the depth is pretty bad, but I'll give the safety room a B. They got 2 really reliable starters, and you can't really ask much more for that. That comes out to 9, 18, 24 points for the safeties. Let's look at the overall offensive grade. Yeah, sorry I said offense, but when you look at this defense, it actually comes out to about a C, which I don't think is fair. I think I'll give this defense a C+. In my opinion, they're a good group, but they're 3 core players. 2 of them are old. They're going to have to regress at some point. I mean, if they never do, that would be awesome. But, like, the young guys are going to have to step up. This is the transition year where this defense really ramps it up with the younger dudes. I think they'll be able to, but I don't know for sure. Because, again, it's Dennis Allen, and, again, you just don't know until you see it. So, C+, 96 total points. It's not the worst defense ever, but I don't think it's as good as Yeah, it's not that crazy. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Time for special teams unit. Alright, Will Lutz is the kicker. You see a huge difference when he doesn't kick. He is really good. Last season, yes, he did just not kick that well, but he still got a huge leg and he still makes big kicks. I get he missed that one kick against, what was it, the Vikings? It was like an 80-yarder. And he actually did take a lot of long kicks. What was it? How many long kicks did he take last season? I know this is kind of a pain in the neck. Yeah. He went 4 of, yeah, he took, no. He didn't struggle inside, inside the 40 to 49. He was actually not that good there, but he took a lot of long kicks. Like, what was it, 6? Yeah, that's a good amount of long kicks. So yeah, Will Lutz, again, he isn't as accurate again as you could say he used to be, but his extra point percentage is fine. Blake Gillikin, I'll say he's an above average punter at this point. He again, 2 back-to-back seasons where he was pretty good, pretty consistent. I will say this though, he definitely wasn't as accurate as he was last year, even though he did have a lot more big-time bomb punts. Rashid Shaheed, he does probably gonna fumble once in a while, but again, I already said he's a huge speedster. Yeah, Rashid Shaheed's a beast, and then of course Zach Wood, who's a good long snapper. That's all I got there. The special teams unit should be good. I'll give them a B. They never really make any big mistakes. They use special teams unit. They usually are really coordinated, and again, they just don't blow games, and they do make some big plays. So I'll give them 8 points. I like what they're doing there. Let's talk about the overall team depth now. Alright, looking at the quarterback depth in the Saints roster, I'll give them probably like a B. Yeah, Jameis Winston and Jake Haener are not the worst backups to have. Running back, B minus probably. No, B, because they basically have 2 starters. Wide receiver, D, yeah, D plus, no, D, because Traquan Smith is your 4th receiver. It's just not the best. And outside of that, it's a bunch of bumps. Tight end, though, I'll give that a B minus. I like what they're going to do. But then again, like, you know what? No, B minus. Because, like, Taysom Hill really isn't that great of tight end. Offensive line-wise, I'll give it a B. I like what they're going to do. So, again, what was it? B, what was it? B plus, D. I'm probably going to give them about, yeah, all of these were Bs. So, I'll actually give them, because the D's just not good. I'll give it a C+. I think offensively, again, it's just the wide receiver core that ruins it, but kind of averages it out. But honestly, this offense does have good depth. Honestly, probably just give them a B-. Linebacker depth is probably about a C. It's not great, not terrible. Defensive line depth is probably about a B. I actually like what they're doing there. Pass rush depth, C+. They got guys at some guy. You know what? Probably a C. Quarterback, what is that so far? What was that? C, and B. So probably about a B- right now. No, C+. Cornerback depth is, again, probably like a B. Yeah, B. So B, C+, probably still a C+. Safety depth, I don't know, B-, no, C. So they probably got like about a C. Defensively, C+. I'll give them a C+. Defensively, they've got about a C+. Again, they're pretty average. What I say, offensively, a B-. So, but I'll give them a C+. The Saints got a pretty deep roster, but then again, it's like there are positions that really aren't that deep. But again, they're relying on a lot of old dudes, so it's not the greatest formula to have. I'll give them a C+. I think that's fair. Again, a lot of rosters are gonna get that because there really aren't too many teams that are. I mean, there's really no teams that are like, they got good depth, and teams that are like, they got bad depth, but it's not like they're, oh god. So. And then there's not really any teams that are just like, holy crap. There's a lot of teams that are like, yeah, they got decent depth, like a little bit above average. That's really what it's kind of like in this league. So, comes out to 24 points for the, what it's called, Saints depth. Let's look at the overall identity now. Okay, for the Saints offense, what in the world are they going to do? So, the first 3 weeks, I think they're going to really struggle with being efficient. Because if this running game isn't just pounding down, and these running backs are just like a pain in the neck to tackle, it's going to be really hard for this offense to, like, be super efficient because they don't have a receiving back. Like, they don't have a guy who can just make things happen, like Alvin Kamara, who's a huge part of that process where just check it down, he'll make things happen. Again, yes, the receivers are a pretty good group, I guess. Just voice cracked. But Rashid Shaheed, again, he'll make a big play once a game. I do like them doing running backs, but again, the first 2 weeks could be a little bit of an issue. The offensive line, pretty simple. They can continue to do what they're doing Pass Pro, which has been really good, basically ever since Ryan Ramczyk showed up. And if they can finally be, I wouldn't say dominant, but just good and effective in the run game, that would be huge. Tight end-wise, Juwan Johnson just don't suck at blocking. That's what I got. So, offensively, again, Derek Carr could ruin this a little bit, but I do have an idea what they're going to do, so I'll give them a B. B-. They've got a deal, but then again, there could be a wrench in it. Defensively, again, DeMario, they don't really have true cover linebacker, which means These corners and these safeties are going to step up a lot underneath, which means there could be some bombs thrown against them, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. Their passers and their defensive line aren't the best, so it could be a little bit of an issue there. So honestly, defensively, I'll give them about a C overall identity. There's just too many question marks and relying on guys who just don't know if they can be relied on as much anymore. So with that all in mind, what did I say? B minus, C plus. The Saints identity, I'll give them a C because Dennis Allen. Their identity is pretty much in order. They good idea what they're gonna do. There's no huge question marks again with what their philosophy is gonna be, but it is Dennis Allen. He just doesn't really win games. And again, like I said, they're relying on guys who they shouldn't really probably be relying on right now. So that's why they come out to a C overall identity. The reason not C minus, D plus, because they do have players that can execute and they have a system that works. So without that all in mind, that comes out to 15. What is that? 25 points. That's not percent. 25. What the heck? Not dates either. Let's take a look at this overall roster grade now. The Saints roster comes out to about a C plus, which honestly kind of fits them because the Saints roster people are like, oh, they got a really good roster. Do they though? I mean, B minus I think is reachable, but I don't think I'll give them a C plus because I don't really think this roster is that crazy. Again, I get the fact that just the fact that with Derek Carr there, I do think he caps it a little bit. If he'd shown he can win a playoff game and didn't stink that much last year, probably in the B tier. But for an offense that should be a lot more explosive and a lot more consistent, I do think that this Saints team overall will be better. But just looking at the roster overall, it's older and they still simply don't have the greatest depth right now. And again, the identity is a little in question. If they had a different head coach, it would probably be in the B minus range. That's really kind of what separates it. And the fact that Derek Carr still hasn't won a playoff game. That's all I got for you guys here. Hope you enjoyed the Saints 2023 roster grade. We got another S team and then another S team to wrap it up. I don't know how the heck that worked out, but yep, 3 S's then the roster grading season. That's all I got there, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, some Kenny Pickett to end it.
Side. Now setting up at the 44. Deep shot, Pickett. Looking for a man, and he's got Deontay Johnson down inside the New Orleans 20.
Well, there's two things I love, right? You get the one-on-one. You see this, the safety just sit in the middle of the field, puts a great ball on Johnson, but I love the eyes of the quarterback, just holding that safety in the middle so he can't get over there.